My name is Ondrej and I'm gonna show you how to build anything with CrewAI. To put it simply, CrewAI is a framework that lets you launch AI agents to automate any part of your work or life. For example, you could create a trading bot to invest into the stock market, or an AI agent that gives you infinite leads for any business or industry, which is what I'll be building. CrewAI is so easy to use that you can create AI agents in a matter of minutes, which is what makes it so popular. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to use this powerful framework to make literally anything, even if you aren't a programmer. First off, go to collab.research.google.com and create a new file. This is a free tool from Google that lets us execute Python code without having to install anything. And click on create a new code cell. So we can do like 1 times 1 and hit Control Enter, and this will actually connect us to the runtime, as you can see connecting. So obviously this is 1, which means there is no weird teleology going on. Basically every single business needs more leads, right? And there is 2 ways you can make money with this right now. Number 1, if your business needs leads, well, you can just implement it right away and have more leads to reach out, which will lead to more sales. Or if you don't have your own business, you can just create a big list of leads for a specific industry and sell that to other companies. So there are 2 ways you can start making money with this agent, so make sure to watch until the end. The first thing we have to do is import the CrewAI library. So let's do a new code block. This will let us install CrewAI using pip. The good thing about Google Colab is that it's actually a Jupyter notebook. If you don't know what that means, it's basically that the code is separated into individual cells. So as you can see, this is a separate cell, this is a text cell, this is a code cell, and this is another code cell. Now, while this is installing, we can actually create a next code cell and start running that as well, which will execute once this is finished. And this one will import the Anthropic library, which will let us use all of their Claude models. But now we have the libraries installed, so now let's actually get to building. By the way, if you're intimidated by this code, don't worry, all of the code will be available inside of my community. The first thing we have to do, now that we have the libraries installed, is to import the necessary modules from these libraries. Now the next step is actually to set the Anthropic API key. Boom, console.anthropic.com, and here you can generate your API key. When you're in the console, click on settings at the top and click on API keys on the left. So let me create a new one. You can just name it like CrewAI Agents. Just copy this, copy key, and replace this part right here. And you have to run the cell again, because if you don't run the cell, it's not updated, right? But if you're running into issues, go into the console again, click on billing and put in your credit card. Sometimes Anthropic doesn't trust you. Maybe it thinks you're an AI agent or an AI bot. So just, charge up like $5 and you will skip all the troubles. So I would highly recommend you do this at the start. The next step is to create an Anthropic client. We can choose which of the AI models we're using. Now, just notice what I'm doing, right? Every time I'm copying the code, I run the cell. You need to have the green check mark next to the cell. Otherwise, it didn't run. So as you can see, Sonnet. This is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Now, actually, let me show you a quick tip. When you're in the console, you can click on Dashboard and click on Explore Documentation. This will take us to Anthropic's docs. And in here, you can see the latest information about the API. As you can see by this graph, it's a lot better than all of the previous models. And I would say it's a lot better than GPT-4o as well. Claude 3 Haiku, however, is the best cheap model. So this is way better than GPT 3.5, and it's also cheaper. This is one thing I want to show you because this was literally released within the last 24 hours. New Sonnet. There's a new model that's the best model, and it simply has double the output tokens, right? So as you can see, the default was 4,000. The new one has 8,000, but you have to use this Anthropic Beta Max tokens. So I put it in here just in case. And I also put in Haiku, which is very cheap. And now let's do a test API call. Always have the documentation open when you're building something. So anyways, model we set to Sonnet. Max tokens, so this is the output, right? Temperature, this determines how random/creative we want the model to be. So I just set it to 0.7. And the content of that message, this is simply the prompt, right? So if we run this, we'll get a response. Beautiful. So we have successfully called the Anthropic API. So if you change this, obviously, what are AI agents? And notice how fast it is, right? And yeah, multiple agents, task delegation, collaboration. Beautiful. Now, it's finally time to start building our first agent. First though, I have to tell you that soon I'm launching my most requested workshop yet, Make Money with AI. This training will be available inside of my community. And inside, I'll teach you step by step how to make your first $1,000 with AI. So make sure to join now, because in 10 days, the price is going to double. The link is in the description. Now back to our agent. Okay, so now we're gonna ask the user for input on the niche, location and the number of leads you want. So if you run the cell, you can say, okay, I need, let's say, chiropractors, right? What location? You can do San Francisco, and then number of leads, let's say you want 500, right? This is lets you do it manually. I mean, every time you run it, you can do a different niche, different location, different number of leads. So, you know, if you plan on doing it yourself or sending it to somebody, this is a good way to do it. What I'm gonna do right now, just to keep it simple, and in case I need to rerun it because I'm having some troubles with Collab right now, I'm gonna set it manually, right? So I'm gonna comment this out, and I'm just gonna hard set it. So instead of, you know, setting it like this, I'm just gonna set the niche to Facebook ads agency. Doesn't really matter. You can just do any type of business, any ideal avatar in any location, and this will work. And I'm just gonna do number of leads 5 because I don't wanna take forever. We're gonna keep it low. But again, you can do any number of leads. Let's now import the LangChain Anthropic library, and this will let us use Anthropic inside of CrewAI much easier. So as you can see, we were not using CrewAI here. We are simply doing a direct API call to Anthropic. But here, if we use the LangChain to connect the Anthropic with CrewAI together, we can use it in our agents. By the way, the Q, as I said earlier, just means quiet. You know, it's not showing the entire install process. Next part is quite interesting, actually. Here we import Chat Anthropic class from LangChain Anthropic. So as you can see, we import Chat Anthropic because we don't need the entire library. We just need this part of the library. Now we create 2 different instances of Chat Anthropic. First one is consistent and the second one is creative. And what this means is that here we basically set the temperature of the model to 0. So we want no randomness. We always want the most probable token, right? It's going to be the most consistent. And we set the model name to Sonnet. So if you're, low on budget, you would just set it to Haiku. Or if you want your agents to have really long output, you can set the new Sonnet here. I'm just going to go in with Sonnet because it's, super smart and it works. And second instance is creative, where I just set the temperature to 0.8, which is a high temperature, which means the outputs will be more random, more varied, more creative, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to use these for different agents. So some agents I wanted to have super consistent. Some agents I want them to be creative. So that's why I created 2 of these instances of Chat Anthropic. This next code block is going to create our first AI agent. So this is the beauty of CrewAI. It's really simple, super simple syntax. Like, it literally is amazing, right? So even if you don't know any Python, you could follow along and you would understand what each line of code does, right? So here we define a new agent, and this agent is going to be responsible for generating unique and relevant search queries. So obviously here we have Facebook ads agency and Sydney, but this might not be the best search query always, right? So we'll have an agent that actually takes this as an input and thinks of optimized search queries to find different, find Facebook agencies, but in different ways, right? So I'll show you this in action. So we name it variation agent, and we use the agent class from CrewAI. First, we specify the role, search query specialist. Then we define the primary objective of the agent. By the way, if you're super new to Python, these are just comments, right? If you put a hashtag in front of a line and it's green like this, it's simply a comment. It doesn't do anything. It's, to explain the code, make it more easier to understand. So here we set the goal. Okay, backstory. This is basically a system prompt, right? A detailed system prompt to guide the agent's behavior. So here we said you are an expert in crafting search queries that yield high quality business leads, blah, blah, blah. You can understand. I mean, I had Claude 3.5 Sonnet write this. I didn't even write it myself. Honestly, this is pretty mediocre prompt, but it does the job. Here you don't have to be a prompt engineering genius, in such a simple agent, right? Like this one. Then verbose. Here we enable verbose, which means how much yapping, how much talking the agent does. And this is basically for, logging, seeing how the agent thinks. That's basically it. Allow delegation. This is important. You have to set it to false because we don't want this agent to be outsourcing the work to somebody else. We want this agent to do what we tell him to do, which is generate 10 different search queries. So we set it to false. And then the LLM, we use the creative one because we want him to be creative. We don't want it to be super consistent, like everything be the same as our, input. We want to have creativity. We want it to be a bit creative with what it outputs, right? So we give it the creative instance, and let me just hit Shift Enter. And we have the green check mark, so we can go to the next part. Now, the next part of CrewAI is task. So the first step is to create an agent. The second step in CrewAI is to create a task. By the way, the reason why we had to import a LangChain Anthropic is because by default, CrewAI uses OpenAI. So if you want to use OpenAI for some reason, you don't have to do this part, because you can just put your OpenAI API key same way as we did here. You would just do OpenAI API key, and that would work. Luckily, tasks in CrewAI are even simpler than the agents. So here we have only description, expected output, and we assign it the agent. So this task will specify the exact instructions for the search query. So as you can see, this prompt is a lot better because I wrote it myself. Anyways, here's detailed description of what the task should accomplish. Generate 10 different and concise search queries for niche. And by the way, this is a concept in Python where you do an F string, which lets you put other variables into the string. So here, the niche is exactly what we referenced here. Facebook ads agency. Could be anything else, literally anything else. Same with the location, I just picked Sydney, random city. I mean, I don't really care about Australia, to be honest, but yeah. And the number of leads, as I explained, 5, is just for testing so that, you know, our agent doesn't run forever. Anyways, we give it niche and location, and then make sure every search query is short and direct. It should be optimized for SERP API, which I'll explain in a bit. We'll get to that. Then each query should be unique and different from the rest. Do not use quotation marks. Do not include any extra text, because if you don't put this line, it will just like put stuff in front and after the queries. You have to be ruthless. Just output the 10 search query variations, nothing before it, nothing after it. And then we do expected output. So this is actually relatively new to CrewAI. It didn't used to have this, but I think this improves consistency of your agents. So you specify the expected format of the output, right? So this one should be a list of 10 unique search queries, each on a new line. And then we assign the agent. That's literally it. Creating a task in CrewAI is super simple. We assign which agent is responsible for this task. And obviously it's the variation agent we've created right here. So let's run this cell. The last part of CrewAI, we have agents, tasks, and the last part is a crew. So let's define a new crew named search query crew. And all you need to do, it's amazing, it's how simple CrewAI is. All you need to do is assign the agents for this crew, the tasks, and how verbose it is, right? So pretty self-explanatory. This is a list of all agents. If we had multiple agents in this crew, we could do like, search agent, scrape agent, and so on. But right now we only have one. Tasks are all the tasks that this crew of agents should perform. Obviously we only have one here. And then verbose. Number 2 is for detailed logging, which will, show you exactly what the agent is doing at every step. If you don't want to do that, you can do just verbose one. So let's run this cell, but this still only defines the crew variable, the crew object, right? It doesn't execute the cell. For this, we have to kick it off. So let's create a new code cell. And this is how you do it in CrewAI. You do .kickoff, right? So we save the output into a new variable named search queries result. And we do the crew .kickoff. We kick it off, and this will start the crew and save the output into this variable. And we just print the result. We simply do print generated search queries and the result of our crew. So let's run this, and this will actually execute the agents. So you can see it's running. Working agent, search query specialist, and then the task, which is performing. And then here is how the agent is thinking. You can literally see every single step of the process. So thought, I can now give a great answer. And here's the final answer. Facebook ads agency, Sydney social media marketing firms. So this is what I mean. This is the purpose of the agent. It creates different variations of this target niche in city. So in this case, Sydney. But, you don't have to think about what the best search term is. This agent will take care of that, and it will do 10 different ones. So it can find leads that you would manually never find, because you wouldn't think of these prompts, right? Beautiful. So now we know that CrewAI works successfully. Our agents work successfully. Let's process the search query results, because this is still a single string, and we cannot really work with this. So let's add a new cell, and let's process the results. What this does basically is creates a new variable, search queries, and it's does search query result dot split by new line. So it splits it by every new line and it saves it as a list. So now it's a list, and then we do search queries equals, and this basically removes any empty queries and strips the white space from them. This is a list expression. You don't have to understand it. That's the beauty of having Claude 3.5 do the coding for you. You don't have to be expert in Python syntax. Then, I mean, this is not really necessary, but basically we limit to exactly 10 search queries, right? This is just kind of insurance. You don't have to have this. Honestly, from testing, this works all the time. The agent doesn't really make mistakes here. And then we basically print the list to verify, but you might be like, okay, David, it's the same exact list. Well, yeah, but this time we print it as a list. Here is just a string. Now we do for, we iterate through the new list and we print it out one by one. So we can see we have 10 different search queries separated. So we can work with this. It's very hard to work with a string, right? By the way, I just want to take a moment. If you're learning, if you find this valuable video, if you're actually learning, please subscribe. It's completely free and it takes 2 seconds. So go below and subscribe. Now, here we go into tools, CrewAI tools. So this is actually a different library. So we're going to pip install CrewAI tools. And what this lets us do, it lets us use the Serper Dev tool, which is actually built into CrewAI, which is amazing. You don't have to, worry about the syntax of Serper Dev. You can just use it from CrewAI tools. So we can actually look it up, maybe CrewAI docs. And let's see all the tools, right? So here, this is the official CrewAI documentation. Same as we are in Anthropic, CrewAI has also docs. So, always look at the documentation if you're running into issues. So click on tools and you can see that there should be a list of all the tools. Yeah, available CrewAI tools. So there is a lot, good amount, right? So look at this. Code docs search tool, RAG tool optimized for searching through code, CSV search tool, so many tools, GitHub search tool, Serper Dev tool, this is what we're using. A specialized tool for development purposes with specific functionalities under development. And again, PDF search tool, RAG tool, Scrape website tool. Actually, I didn't even know about this. Anyways, I have it different. I did it different way when I built this agent, but maybe you can even do it with this tool. Oh, okay. Anyways, let's go back. So basically, we're using the Serper Dev tool from CrewAI tools. Greatly simplifies the process. Another reason to use CrewAI. So now we need the Serper Dev API. So if you don't have it, you're probably like, okay, how do I get the API key? Well, I'll show you. Don't worry. So you go to serper.dev. That's it. You go here and you create an account. And this is basically world's fastest and cheapest Google search API. It says it right here, so explains it beautifully. But you get 2,500 free queries for free. So you don't have to buy anything. You can do a lot of searching even on the free plan. So let me sign in. When you have signed in, as you can see, I've done a lot of testing and I've only done 25 queries in the last 2 days of building this agent. So anyways, on the left, click on API keys. And here, when you're here for the first time, I'm going to do reset key and then copy. And so here, obviously, this one is no longer active. So here you put your API key here. And I just copied the new one, right? So copy. Let me replace that. Same way as we did in Anthropic. And let's hit Shift Enter to run the cell. So now it's assigned to our environment variable with os.environ Serper API key. And yeah, the free plan is great. So you don't even have to pay anything for this. You can do you can run this agent a lot of times before you run out of the 2,500 ones. Yeah, it's amazing free plan. Anyways, now let's create the Serper Dev tool instance by using Serper Dev tool like this into a variable. And now let's define a new agent, which will be using the tool. This will be a search agent. So, we're already familiar with the syntax. We give it a role, we give it a goal, a backstory, which is basically the system prompt. Verbose, we set it to true, so we can, it's more talkative. We see more of the outputs. We see how it thinks. Then we do allow delegation false. You know, we don't want this agent to be lazy and to be assigning this to somebody else. And tools, this is a new one, right? So in here, we don't have this in our previous agent because we didn't need to give it any tools. But here, we want our agent to have tools. So this is what separates agents from just ChatGPT, right? AI chatbots. You cannot give ChatGPT extra tools. Like only OpenAI can decide and do that. But with your own agents, you can give it any tools you want. I mean, just by using CrewAI, you have all these different tools, right? But you can also build your own tools. You know, here's the syntax, how to do it. So you can really do anything with the agents. Again, you don't even have to be programmer. I'm going to show you the biggest tip, right? The biggest secret of programming, which is just using ChatGPT or Claude AI. So let's say Claude AI right here. Let me pull up ChatGPT as well. Doesn't really matter which one you use. Honestly, both are good for programming. So, you know, what you do is that, okay, say you don't know anything about Python or CrewAI, you would go into the site, you just copy the current documentation, right? You copy the entire site, Control C, you go, let's say ChatGPT, type in below, write me a custom tool that, I don't know, okay, whatever, I don't want to think, write me 3 different custom tools that go far beyond what ChatGPT can do. It's kind of ironic because I'm asking ChatGPT to do this. Anyways, here are 3 custom tools, blah, blah, blah. Sentiment analysis with real-time social media monitoring. So we're using a TweePy, text blow-up. So this is building a custom tool, right? And let's see what it does. This tool continuously monitors specific social media channels, Twitter, in real time for the mentions of particular topic. Well, this is actually pretty useful, to be honest. I'm going to implement something like this. Analyzing a few of the top AI Twitter users. This could be useful, to be honest. It gives me a bunch of ideas. Let's see what's the second one. Advanced image recognition annotation tool. So yeah, as you can see, this goes far beyond what ChatGPT can do. Real-time financial market analysis and prediction tool. Yeah, so it built the tools based on the documentation, which I just copied and put into it. So you can do this. Like, again, this is why I recommend always pulling up the latest documentation, because you can just copy it, put it into Claude, put it into ChatGPT, and ask it questions and have it build custom tools for it. You don't have to write the code yourself. This is what I really want to drill into your head. Most of the code you see here, I didn't write myself. I mean, I did write some lines, but like 90% of it in this project was written by Claude. And I just simply gave it the syntax. Anytime it was wrong, I just, you know, let's say we were building something with CrewAI. I went in here, gave it the home, quick start, right? Let's say getting started right here. So I copied this entire site, gave it to it, and it got me started. Then I was doing tools, so I gave it the documentation for tools. Like, that's literally it. That's literally it. Same with the serper, right? So here, with the playground, you can copy the Python, or actually, you don't have to do this, sorry. You're just using the CrewAI. You're using serper in CrewAI, so you can forget about that. You don't have to do that. CrewAI, João Moura, the creator, the founder of CrewAI, figured that for you. Anyways, this is the power of agents. You can build custom tools and give it to them. And if you don't know how to build custom tools, you don't even have to know that. All you have to know is use AI tools. This is the skill. Just like use tools more. The chances are you are not using AI tools enough. That's what I want to get across. Anyways, let's continue. So we have created this agent and we give it the consistent one. Notice this. This agent is using the search tool. So we don't want him to be creative. He's simply going to use the search queries we give him to search the web and give us the results. We don't want him to be, you know, random and creative. But with our previous agent that generated variations, this one, variation agent, we wanted him to be creative. That's why I, you know, created 2 different instances of the Anthropic chat. Anyways, let's create the task. Control MB will create a new code cell. And then here we define the task. Okay, it's exactly the same as before. We do a description. As you can see, this one clearly wrote myself when you see full caps like this. But basically, I do an F string. I give it the number of unique leads we want in the niche, in location. Then I give it the search queries our previous variation agent created. And it will use these exact search queries. And then expected output is a clean list with number formatting of number of leads. So in this case, we're only doing 5. By the way, you can always check any variable. If you forget what it is, you can do number of leads like this. And you can just do enter, control enter, and it's going to tell you what this variable is assigned, right? So we can see that it's currently 5. If you want to, just double check the search queries, you can do the same. These are our current search queries in a list. You can also do the same with an H. If you forgot what it is or whatever, this is good practice to just sometimes double check what the current variable is if you forgot. Anyways, you can see that this task receives all the different variables that are necessary and it assigns it to the search agent. So the next step is obviously establish a crew. So we already know how to do that. Search crew, agent again, only one, search task, and again, verbose 2 for detailed logging. So let's run it. And we have an error. Search task not defined. Beautiful, I'm glad this happened. I did not run this cell, so as you can see, this cell doesn't have a green check mark next to it, so it wasn't executed. So this, when I tried running this, it threw an error because this variable does not exist. Until you run a cell, it doesn't exist, right? So what I can do is, actually another tip I can show you, I could just, click, but faster way is Control F10. You can see it in right time. Control F10 means run after. Control F9 would execute everything, but we don't want to do that because that would take time, reinstalling CrewAI, reinstalling Anthropic. All you have to do is do Control F10. Well, if you have issue like this, and that will basically rerun this cell and everything after it. So boom, boom, and we no longer have an error. Beautiful. So just make sure to run all cells, always check the green check mark. Next up, we just kick off the crew. So let's create a new code cell. But this warning, you can just ignore it. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, let's kick it off and let's see what's happening. So working agent, web search specialist, and then the starting task. Then you can see exactly what the agent was fed. I should use, here's the thought. You can see the agent thinking. I should use the search tool to find Facebook ads agency in Sydney using the provided search queries. Beautiful. So it knows exactly what we're doing. And this is the advantage of using smarter LLMs. They're better at following instructions. It really is as simple as that. So as you can see, this is what it found, right? Facebook ads agency, digital defined, marketing Sydney, blah, 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 biz wisdom, gorilla, King Kong. So it's a lot. It's more than 5 actually. So let's see if it actually follows the result and only outputs 5. Let's scroll down. Yes, beautiful. It only outputted 5. So it found a lot more than 5. I mean, I don't know how many this is, 10, 15. But it knew right here. I now have enough information to provide a list of 5 unique Facebook ad agencies in Sydney. So I only ask for 5. If I ask for 10, we can actually rerun this. You'll see the, let me do this, right? So let's say, what's it going to be? Number of leads, right? Equals, let's do 50, right? For this demonstration. I do 50. Then this is basically reassigns the variable. So now when I rerun it, it will do 50. And the beauty of this agent is that it will not stop running until it has 50. So let's see. Right here, yeah. We saw it. Let me scroll out. I missed it. Thought, I should continue using the search tool with the provide search queries to find more unique Facebook ads agencies in Sydney. So after the first search, it didn't have 50. So it spent thinking. It was like, oh, the user wants 50 leads. Let me search the websites again. So if you scroll back down, we should see 50. Why is it 5 here? Did I mess up the prompt? There's a high chance I messed up the prompt somewhere. Oh, yeah. Okay, I did mess up. And the reason for that is because we need to run this cell. I only ran this cell and this cell, but the task is in here. We're using number of leads in here. So it's still saved 5, right? Yeah, that's my bad. Anytime you update the variable, you have to update everywhere the variable is referenced. So obviously the task also needs to be changed. So let me do Control F10. It will re-execute everything. And now, as you can see, now it knows it's 50 unique agencies. So yeah, that was my bad. So it keeps searching. It searches more. I should continue searching. Yeah, so now it makes more sense. Now it's searching for longer, which means it's looking for more different websites. And search results, this is not 50, but maybe some were duplicates. I don't know why this happened actually. But this is not even the proper way to do this, honestly. The proper way to do this would be to have the agent in like a for loop or a while loop and just have the loop running until we hit the number of websites. because you don't want, like, to achieve ultimate consistency, you don't want to put everything into the agent. Actually, you want as much of it to be outside of the agent. Like what can be done with code should be done with code, because that's way more consistent. You know, agents hallucinate and they don't always follow instructions perfectly, such as in this case. It decided to end the task sooner than it had 50. And if you know anything about LLMs, they're terrible at counting. So imagine it's hard for him to count like this, especially when he cannot use a numbered list, which we prohibited in the prompt above, if you remember. You know, no other info, websites only. So yeah, we actually prohibited him from using a list, no formatting. Maybe if we allowed him to use a numbered list, it could count better. But again, this is not the best way to do it for, like, this is basically zero shot, like using everything at once. The best way would be to get the agent to do like 10 websites, then check against a big list of websites. Like you could create, like, let me show you, right? You would create like a list like this, websites equals an empty list, and then you would just basically append these results in here and check for duplicates and have the agent run again and run again and run again, each time with slightly different queries. That would be the proper way to do this. But again, I'm just making a simple, minimal viable product that you can use yourself. Let me reassign this. Actually, we can delete this. Actually, let me run this, and I'm going to delete it after running it. What happened here? Anyways, now we have to rerun it again because we changed the variable. So Control F10. So now it's updated to 5 again. So it's going to search 5, and that's going to be it. Now, what we're going to do right here is we're going to process the result. So here we're going to create a websites list, and we're going to search results, dot strip, dot split, and by a new character. So if you're not familiar with reverse dash n, this is the new line character. So right here, you cannot see it, but this is a string, right? The output of LLM is always a string. There is a new line character right here. Otherwise, it would just be one after each other. So the reason why it's on a new line is there is this, but it's not visible. It's not rendering. So we have to split it by this, which will give us a list. And then we can just print the list, as we did before with the search queries, to see like, okay, we have 5 different websites that we actually found with our search agent. Okay. So, by the way, I definitely want to keep improving this. To me, like, this is the most fun thing, building agents and like programming. I don't know, maybe it's just like me, but I actually love programming. So I had to kind of stop myself short because I was like improving the agent, like, oh my God, I didn't upload in a while. So, you know, that's why I'm uploading. But again, I'm so like frustrated because I know this is not the proper way to do this. The proper way to do this would be to run this agent in a while loop and, you know, have him do like 10, 15 websites at a time instead of like trying to give him 50, which is too much for the agent at once, right? You don't have to run agent once. You can run them in a loop. So that would be a much better way to do this. And we could create like a list, same way we have here, and just store all the websites in there. That would definitely be the proper way to do this. But yeah, whatever. It's good enough for now to demonstrate with these 5 websites. So we have 5 websites that the agent found. And then the next step is to install Firecrawl. So I actually didn't realize that, you know, CrewAI has the built-in tool. Let's run this cell. And then we import the necessary modules. So right now, obviously, we need to set the API key. But if you don't have that, don't worry. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. So go to firecrawl.dev, same as we did before. And you create an account. Again, we're getting this redirect notice. You can ignore this. Boom, boom. So in here, you basically, it's optimized for LLMs. So this is a scraping tool that is built with LLMs in mind. Like, I think like no other tools are like this. So turn websites into LLM ready data. So if you're going to use scraping tool with agents, you might as well go with Firecrawl, right? So crawl and convert any website into clean markdown or structured data. It's also open source. And you can get 500 credits, which is 500 scrapes for free. So again, it has a great free plan. So you don't even have to pay anything. Anyways, when you're on the Firecrawl website, click on sign in. You'll see it in the top corner. I'm already signed in. But basically, create an account. You can log in with Google. And then click on dashboard when you're signed in. This will take you to the Firecrawl dashboard. You can see your overview of the usage, you know, activity logs, blah, blah, blah. We want the API keys. As always, we want the API key. So I'm going to revoke it so that we get a new one. So as you can see, it refreshed. So I'm going to copy this one. Boom. and go back to our Google Colab. And now we have to assign it like before. So here, this is going to be empty. You can say like whatever, AA. And let me copy it again because I copied the cell, boom, and we have to run it, right? So as you can see, we assigned the environment variable Firecrawl API key. We give it the new API key. As I said, they have a solid free plan, so you don't have to buy anything. Here, we create a Firecrawl client into the app variable, and we simply give it the API key like this. Beautiful. By the way, this agent, as well as every other agent I've built in the past, is now available inside of my community. Now, what I'm really excited about is integrating these agents into the Make Money with AI workshop, which will make it even easier for you to get clients and deliver the service. So don't miss out on the deal and join today, because the price is going to increase soon. Okay, back to our agent. So we can actually see how our list looks like, and this is the Python syntax to extract a specific website from the list. So in this case, we want the fourth website, because in programming, lists always start with 0. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we want the fourth website, we want 3. Obviously, we can do the same. Yeah, as you can see, it gives us the fourth website. You know, if we do, let's say, the first website, we have to do 0, and it's going to give us the first website. Same with, 1 to get the second website. 3, we already did it. But yeah, you get the point. So basically, you can extract any single website from the list, and this is just to, obviously this doesn't do anything. It's just for us to check how the list looks like when we target a specific item in the list. So in this case, the fourth item. Okay, so now let's actually do something with this, right? So, by the way, the reason I want to do this is just to demonstrate a single website, right? So, okay, let me stop this. Okay, this error isn't real. Let's clear this output. So yeah, this error only occurred because I manually forced it to stop. But basically, I just want to test the agent with a single website. Ideally, you would, again, put this in a loop and then feed it the websites. So you would do a for loop, like for website in websites, and then basically current link website, and then you run the scrape results like this, right? So you would do, actually we can probably do it, but I want to keep it simple as possible, right? Again, so you would do exactly this, for websites in website. Let me actually comment this out. I'm going to put it above here, and I'm going to comment it out in case some of you wanted to put it into a loop like this. But basically, yeah, basically right now I only wanted to do it with a single website. Wait, oops. Yeah, only wanted to do it with a single website to demonstrate that it works, right? So what we do is we assign a new variable, current link. We give it one of the websites. Then we use Firecrawl to scrape from the content. So this is, the app is the instance of Firecrawl we declared here. And then we scrape the URL. This is the function or method inside of Firecrawl, scrape underscore URL. And we pass the parameter, the current link, which exactly, this is why I wanted to visualize what it looks like, so you can see what is being passed as the current link, exactly this URL. And then we basically save the output of the crawl to scrape result, and then we print out only the first 500 characters, because there's a lot of content that's being scraped from any given website. So let's actually rerun this. We don't have to rerun this because this is a comment cell, so it doesn't do anything, but we can. So as you can see, this is the first 500 characters, and actually I'm going to show you what happens if I didn't do that. So let me do that. Scrape result without the first 500 characters. You can see there's a lot of content we scraped just from the homepage, right? So that's why I wanted to do only 500 characters, so we don't output all of that stuff. So let's actually check if this is correct, right? So let's visit the website. Where is it? All right, here. You can copy this. Oops. Visit the website. So if we go, so obviously this is seeing it as a HTML. So first it sees the logo, so right here. Then it sees solutions, beautiful, and the drop down menu from lead generation. Yeah, so beautiful. It's scraping the website correctly. That's nice. And we just printed this to see, how our scrape looks. And in this case, it is scraping, you know, from top to bottom, left to right. Okay, so now let's actually do something with this, because most websites don't have the contact information on the homepage, and I think maybe, let's see if this one does or doesn't, right? Scroll down. Sometimes you can get lucky and you can get the... Okay, so there is some stuff here, but we don't have the email here. So yeah, okay. This is one thing I noticed, is that a lot of websites actually take away the email exactly because people like us who want to scrape them, but they still have other social media. So I think like LinkedIn and Twitter, probably the two best ones to reach out, which is exactly what I've built with this agent to extract those links. So anyways, this website had it on the homepage, but most businesses, I would say, do not have all the contact on the homepage. They just redirect to a contact page. So now let's define a new agent that can exactly get those links. What we have on the homepage, however, in this scrape is the links. So where was it? We have these links to, you know, all the different about pages. If I do Control F contact, yeah, so here we can do contact. I don't know if this one has like dedicated. Oh, so we have dedicated about page. I don't know if we have a dedicated contact page. Doesn't matter though. Obviously, this is anecdotal evidence. It's just one website, so you know it's not the perfect example here. But the agent is designed to work with any examples. And some websites will have email, some websites will have LinkedIn, Twitter. So either way, you get a form of contact, right? That's what matters in a lead. So here we define a new agent, link extractor, extract, about page links, blah, blah, blah. And then we use consistent LLM here. Now let's define a new task. This part is actually more interesting. So what we do is analyze the provided homepage and extract the URLs for the about page and contact page. So we want the agent to get these two pages, the URLs to them, so we can scrape them as well. Just for context, we only scraped the homepage. So if you look at all these links, these are the home pages. We didn't, you know, crawl the entire website. That's called crawling. It's like, you know, going through every single directory. But here we only went through the homepage. We only scraped the homepage. But that's not sufficient, because a lot of the times the contact information is either on the about page or on the contact page. So we're going to use this agent to find those links and then to scrape them as well. So analyze the provided homepage and extract the URLs for the about page and contact page. Use this exact content, and then again, since this is an F string, I pass in this variable, which is the scrape result exactly here. You know, same as here, only the entire thing. We don't want to just give the agent the first 500 characters. We wanted to give the entire scrape. And then the reason I put this, actually I learned this from Greg Brockman, the co-founder of OpenAI. I saw him do this in one of his TED Talks, I think. But basically, it's to separate it. It's a token, right? This is one token, and it kind of nicely separates it in the eyes of the LLM. So the LLM doesn't see it like visually like we do. It just sees tokens. So it sees new line token, then this, like delimiter, new line token, and another one. So it kind of sees like, okay, this is something different, right? These are instructions. These are instructions. So this is something different. It kind of understands it when we do it. Anyways. This is more of prompt engineering, kind of basic. I've wrote it myself, as you can see. If it's caps lock, it's written by myself. Expected output, yeah, about page URL, contact page URL, each on a new line, no formatting. If it's not found, output none. And this will let us work with the word none in the future functions, because we tell the agent to just output none when there is not something. Like it's very likely that it's not going to find all three forms of contact, right? Email, LinkedIn, and Twitter. It's very likely that one of them will be missing, so we just teach the agent what to do. We tell him what to do, and in this case, it's output none. Okay, let's define the crew. Super simple, as always. But here you might want to use one, because, you know, it's very lengthy when you put the entire scrapes into the prompt. There is a lot of output. So if you don't want to see that, you can just do one right here. So let's actually kick off the crew. Boom. As always, I mean, nothing changes really here, but as you can see, this is super long. I mean, it's putting the entire scrape into here. So let's see, and the agent is finished. Wow, that was fast. I mean, we're using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is very fast, but basically, as you can see, the agent successfully found the about page and contact page. So if we click on this, it works. I mean, yeah, beautiful. It works. So yeah, by the way, I'm gonna be doing, as I said, email, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You can also just tell the agent to extract the phone number as well. So as you can see here, we have a phone number. I guess this is the format for Sydney, Australia. I have no idea. Obviously, you can target any city you want, but yeah. You can also do the address. If you want to visit businesses in person, you can tell the agent to get the address as well. Really doesn't matter. But yeah, in this case, I don't want it. But as you can see, this was super fast, and we have the agent output. And again, this is a string, so we have to process it a bit. And in this case, I just wrote a simple 3 lines of code. Actually, only 2 lines, but the third one just displays the variable. So I create a new variable, links, and this is going to be a list. So as you can see, as the comment says, we process the agent output and add the original link into the list. So here, actually, we should probably split it into separate comments. Here we get the link results, which is basically just the result of this run. In this case, these 2 links, and we strip all white space and we split it by new line. So there's a new line here. It's going to split that, and now it's a list with 2 different strings. But it's only the about page and contact page. We also want to add the original domain, the original URL. So I do links.insert. This lets us insert for position 0, which is first position of the list, and the current link. That's why I saved it into a variable before. And then I just, do links to see how the variable looks like. And as you can see, we have the default page, about us, and contact us. Beautiful. I don't know why I reran it. Anyways. Now, this is going to be the fun part. We add a function to scrape the about page and contact page. So, okay, it's running, but I'm going to explain it, right? So this is, I guess, a different approach, because before we did it in agents. But as I said, you don't want to put everything inside of the agents, because agents can hallucinate, and then it can just not follow instructions sometimes. So good practice is to do as much of it outside of the agents as possible. In this case, we are scraping all the 3 pages. Actually, we don't have to rescrape it, what I realized. Yeah, because we already have the homepage content. Anyways, I have so many Firecrawl tokens, Firecrawl credits, that I don't even care. But it's not optimal rescraping the homepage here. Whatever. The point is that this is not using an agent. It's just a normal function, a normal Python function that scrapes it. And this is better, believe it or not. It's more consistent. Code, if you write something in code, it just works every time, right? Unless the API breaks or whatever. But your code is correct. It's just 0 and 1s, right? But the agent is a neural network. It's way less stable than raw code. So do as much outside of the agents as possible, and only use LLMs where it makes sense. So as you can see, we define a new function. We define an empty dictionary. Then we do a for loop, looping over 2 things, page type and the link. And we zip together this list, home, about page, contact, with the links list, which we created right here. If the link is not none, this means is not, then we basically assign into this list that I guess it's a dictionary. So yeah. Scraped content. Again, the reason why I'm a bit confused, because this is written by Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So I have no shame admitting this. Most of the code was written by Claude 3.5 Sonnet. I was just managing it, directing it, pointing it in the right direction. So basically, it assigns this key, dictionaries are key value pairs. So to this key, it assigns this value. Scrape. Oh yeah, so nice. This is a key value pair. So page type, in this first run, it's going to be home, and then it's going to assign the scrape of home, only the markdown, to it. Else, we do scrape page type and nothing, if there's none. So this means that if the agent didn't find these websites, it would just assign an empty string. So now we can work with this, right? Since we instructed the agent to output none if it doesn't find the about page or contact page. Then we just return the scraped content dictionary, and we scrape the pages. So scraped content equals scrape pages. So obviously here, this is only defining the function. We actually have to call the function and we pass the links list. Now, what I made a mistake here, this is not referencing the same list. This is only referencing the argument or the parameter of the function. So this could be named something completely different. What matters here, when we call the function, what we pass. Here, this is all of these variables only matter inside of the function itself. So that's a slight mistake I made. Anyways, that's also why we can use scraped content here, because this is different variable than this, right? Scraped content, we just do a new variable and we assign it the result of the function, which is coincidentally named scraped content for clarity. But just don't get confused, right? This links and this links is not the same. But I guess we don't have to get into that. Anyways, now let's do another of these test cells that just, let us check how the page actually looks. So boom, about page. And as you can see, this is, if I click these 3 dots, it's going to open the entire scrape. So let's not do that. But yeah, it is scraped the about page. So that's good. Successfully scraped it. Now, this is an interesting prompt I wrote myself. And this is kind of actually a very interesting thing. I wanted to do this with like regular expressions because that's, not using an agent. Then I tried I think first I tried an agent, then I tried regex. But surprisingly, the simplest way to get the email, the Twitter, and the LinkedIn is just a single API call to Anthropic. At least that's what worked for me, so I used it, right? So anyways, I defined this prompt, which is nothing than a string, right? So this is how you do a multi-line string. Obviously, the single line string, you would do prompt equals, and then, this is a prompt. This is a single line string. Everybody knows that. But multi-line string is 3 quotation marks. And then obviously you can make it an F string again. That way we can pass all content. So wait, did I miss that? Maybe I missed a cell. Wait a minute. Wait, this should return error. Okay, so we actually need to combine these into single one. So, okay, I guess I accidentally deleted one of my cells. But basically, all content is just, the 3 scrapes put together. So we do an F string, simple F string, single line one. And yeah, essentially this is all content, right? So now all content will be all of the scrapes put into a single string. So now if we run this should work, right? So hopefully this isn't too complicated, We get the scraped content home part, which is created from this dictionary. We access these 3 individually, and then we just put it together into a single string. And then we put the string into this prompt. We just, send it in here, which is going to be a very long string. But basically at the start, we have the instructions, right? From the following web scrape, output 3 things: the email, the Twitter link, the LinkedIn link. Again, you could update this. You could do 4 links and get the phone number as well. You could do 5 links, get the address as well. Really up to you. Just changing this prompt is all you need to do. Then below it, again, we have the delimiter. Output the results in the following format: email, Twitter, LinkedIn. If any information is not found, output none for that field. No extra text, just the email, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So this is, again, same prompt engineering as you see before. And surprisingly enough, we extract the contact info with a single Anthropic API call. Again, you can do this with regular expressions, which will be more consistent. But for me, this worked better. I don't know why. I guess the agents are smart enough to, the AI models, the LLMs, are smart enough to extract the links better than regular expressions. And it's also a lot simpler to understand than regular expressions. So basically, the same way we did at the start, it's kind of nice. We're going back. At the start, we did a test API call to Anthropic. And here we're doing an actual API call to Anthropic where we're passing in the prompt. So as you can see, this is the prompt variable I defined here. And the reason why I put it separately is because, you don't want to put all this text into here. That would be a mess. So it's purely for, organizational reason, cleanliness reasons, whatever. But it's a nice full circle moment where at the start we started by doing a single Anthropic API call to test it out that it works. Now we're doing one to finish off and actually get the contact info from the lead so we can actually contact it, right? Anyways, let's run it. So model Sonnet, max tokens 200. Honestly, this could be way less. Could be 100 because it's just putting in these links, right? And then temperature 0.1, meaning low temperature, we want predictable outputs. I could probably do 0, but I don't know. 0 kind of feels weird to me. I like 0.1 for some reason. But basically, then we do messages, role user, and we feed it the prompt, and that's it. We print out the output, and as you can see here, on these guys, they don't have the email anywhere, which, you know, just by doing a quick scroll and Control F, add symbol, we can confirm that's the case. But they do have the Twitter and LinkedIn, which, as you can see, it is correct. They also have Facebook, Instagram, which is also another thing you can scrape if you want to. But now I have the contact info for this business, obviously. Doing one business, you know, is nothing special. But again, you can run this agent as many times as you want. That's the beautiful part. So now this is not finished. I want to improve this agent. And here is some ways how I want to improve it, right? So let me show you this. The first thing I want to do is I want to save the results into CSV file. So again, I had to stop myself because I could honestly spend infinite time on this, but then this video would never come out. Anyways, what I would do first to improve this agent, I would save the results into CSV file. Obviously now it's being outputted as the links. So it's good if you're like doing it manually, you know, you scrape some websites, then do the contact, scrape some more. But let's say you want to sell this to another business. You don't need the leads yourself. You would want a CSV file, right? So this is the first thing I would implement, saving everything into a CSV file. Second thing I would do, include a personalized field with unique info. Now we only have the contact. Obviously we can get the company name really easily. We can get the website really easily. So those are things that we get super easy into the CSV. However, also we get the location easily and the niche, obviously, because we gave that. But one thing I would definitely put into the CSV, which is agents are perfect for this, is a personalized info field. So like, because we already have all the scrapes of these websites, right? We have the scrape of the About Us, Contact Us. So what I would do is I would put these into another agent exactly as we built it before. Like, wouldn't be any different. The same way we build the agents, but basically this agent would output like a short personalized paragraph or a short bullet list with the unique and interesting information about this business, which then later we can reference in our cold emails. So I would definitely do that. Number two, the third thing I would do when improving this agent is I would run the search agent in a loop until we have all the websites. So now it searches only for the set amount of websites we give it, which is not optimal, right? So like right now it's basically like it searches the websites and then it goes scrape them. The best way to do this, at least I think, would be to search for all the websites until we have the list, the entire list that we want, and then only begin the scraping and getting the contact info once the list is completed. So I would definitely implement that third. The fourth change I would do is I would put the scraping into a loop to hit the desired number of leads, because sometimes we get none. So the issue right now is, you know, let's say this website didn't have any contact info. Luckily it did. It did have Twitter and LinkedIn. And most websites, I think, are going to have some contact info, you know, either phone number, email, or social media. But sometimes it can happen that it doesn't have anything, right? And in that case, what you would want to do is you wouldn't want to count that, because remember, at the start we said a desired number of leads. In this case, I did 5, but let's say it's 200 for you, right? If the website doesn't have the contact info, you don't want that to be counted towards the 200. So what I would do ideally is to put the scraping into a loop until we hit the desired number of leads. So it would keep scraping and then maybe have a function, have a tool inside of CrewAI where it can call back to search up more websites, right? So let's say it goes through all 200 links, and let's say only 180 of them have contact info, but it's missing 20, but it doesn't have new links. So it would have to call a tool to use SERP API again, which is already built inside of CrewAI, so that would be super easy. And that agent would basically get 20 more links or 30 more links, and then scrape those again until we had the desired number of leads. So that would basically prevent the situation where some websites don't have any contact info, which we of course don't want to be counted towards the finish. Because like, let's say you're selling this for another business, you're gonna sell them a list of leads. You know, let's say they buy 1,000 leads for you for real estate agents from London or New York or whatever, right? You cannot send them 950 because your agent, stopped running because some of them didn't have contact info. That's why I put it into a loop. Fifth change, I would wrap everything at the end into a single cell. So right now, obviously we have to run the stuff one cell at a time, but I would put everything into functions, and then at the end we could run it in a single cell. So you can, actually work with it much more easier. So that's what I would do. Sixth change I would do is I would create a list of all the websites we've scraped and feed that to the search agent to prevent the duplicates. So right now it's honestly like a free-for-all. Obviously, if we're changing the search queries, we expect some websites to be the same, but some websites will also, we expect a lot of websites to be unique, but some of them will also be the same. If we create a list of the websites we've scraped and give that to the agent and tell them like, these are the websites we have, your task is to find different URLs. That would massively improve, especially when going from hundreds or thousands of leads, that would massively improve the efficiency of the search agent, and it would tell it to only look for novel and unique websites. And these are just like 6 changes I came up from the top of my head. Honestly, there are so many different ways I could improve this agent, and that I want to improve this agent. Because like, to me, this is the best thing, like building, programming, and doing stuff. Like, once I improve the agent, it will be available in my community. So, as I said, I want to integrate these into the new training that I'm launching, Make Money with AI, which you guys have requested in every single poll I run. Most of you, once you learn the basics of ChatGPT, the basics of prompt engineering, basics of building agents, you're interested in making money with AI. That's why I'm doing it. The market has spoken. So, I will want to implement agents into the process so that getting clients for you is easier, getting leads obviously as this agent, but also the delivery part of that service, AI consulting plus the, some extra offer, that part will be greatly simplified by agents as well. So if you want access to the improved agents I built, make sure to join the community, because inside you get all of my code, all of the trainings we have right here in the classroom, as well as a weekly call with me where you can directly talk to me. By the way, this is one thing I just launched recently. If you want to talk with me directly, one-on-one, a private call, join the community and you get it at the second month you're inside. So this is something crazy, because normally for consulting I charge between $500 and $700 per hour. So if you want to talk to me, this is a lot cheaper way to do it. And also you get access to over 500 people at the cutting edge of AI, which to me, that's just priceless. So if you're interested, make sure to join now, because the price is increasing soon. Thank you for watching.